The Honorable Nominee, on the 11th September 2024, His Excellency the President, President John Dramani Mahama, at Impoho constituency, in the Impoho constituency, specifically at Edum Manso. Edum Banso. Thank you very much for the question. Edum Banso said this, and I quote, "I will grant all galamsees imprisoned under akufo-addo amnesty." And this is captured on the Ghana website. Please, I want to know, Honorable Nominee, what would be your advice to President Mahama on this comment? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Illegal mining activities is devastating our environment, destroying our water bodies. The stories about diseases, deformities of children being born are very serious matters that I have described. And that is why we have laid out all the programs that will give opportunity for anybody. And Chairman, let me put it bluntly. And I've said, and I want to say it again. This fight against illegal mining, you can call it galamsey, is going to be pursued with the support of the people of Ghana. It's going to be a bipartisan fight because it goes to the root of whether our country will survive or not. And we don't take that as a joke at all. And so let me say it clearly. I think that there was a reference to making sure that those powerful forces that are always behind the small guys are dodging. That's the reference the president was making, if that's what you are trying to make. And that's the point we are making. We are not only going to make sure that people who are small guys who are working in the field are the ones that are going to be, but the big guys who are buying the machines. Once we've created the avenue and the opportunity for the right things to be done, all those powerful people who are in the dark causing this havoc are the ones who deal with it.
There's a final follow-up. This is actually my follow-up. So, no, that was the substantive question. Mommy, that was the substantive question. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Nominee, so these powerful people that you, as you described, do you know any of these powerful people? No. And if you do, and if you do, what would be your advice with reference to dealing with such powerful people? Thank you.
Chairman, as I've said, we are determined to make sure, working with the people of Ghana, working with mining communities, working with our chiefs, to make sure we reset not only Ghana, but the mining sector, and to make sure we do all the right things. And we are determined to do that. If you give me the opportunity to go to the ministry, I can't wait for this work to start and to make sure that our country is healed.
Thank you. I recognize Honorable Mahama Shahid.
Chairman, thank you very much. Leader, congratulations.
Thank you.
A very well-deserved nomination. Leader, I want us to go to land ownership and security of title. Before 2008, the land administration generally was quite fragmented. You had a survey department and many others. Thankfully, in 2008, a unified law was done to put all these fragments together. hoping that it will reduce so many issues that the lands administration was plagued with. And which ones are they? The turnaround time of processing documents, customer feedback. You could send your application for 2, 3, 4 years. Nobody gets back to you. And importantly, the perception of bribery and corruption. So the new law was promulgated in 2008, the Lands Commission Act. Unfortunately, that rather became a monster. Even as lawyers, we struggle so much to navigate our way through the Lands Commission processes. Tell us, if you get a nod, what you would do to improve these 3 key issues that the Lands Commission is plagued with. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that I've already described the processes that is already ongoing at the Lands Commission. I've talked about the long history of the Land Administration Project 1 and 2. There's still a lot of work to be done to make sure we simplify the processes to make sure that provision of land services are at the doorsteps of the people of Ghana. And as Minister, that is what I intend to do. I also intend to make sure that the Land Act 1036, which really has a lot of provisions to make some of the challenges you described easy, is implemented. And so we will do an aggressive work to identify areas and work with the Lands Commission there. I've met some of the people, they're very fine people, who are determined to try to make sure that they provide good services to the people of Ghana. What I would do is to provide the leadership required to make sure that happens.
Any further question?
Yes, Chairman, just one more. And that has to do with a very critical, I know you have touched on it briefly, regarding our forest reserve and the pieces of legislation that have been issued in this regard. Indeed, in 2019, Cabinet directed the Lands and Natural Resources to suspend the issuance of new licenses and permits and by the Forestry Commission. And so, but practically on the ground, there are still issues. Okay, should you get a nod, what would you do to prevent mining in the forest? Thank you.
Chairman, this is something that we must collectively agree that it won't happen again. The first thing I'll do when I'm giving the nod, and the President has already indicated publicly, is that I'll come to this House to make sure we repeal LI 2462 to make sure that there will be no new mining in forest reserve. That will be the starting point. Once we do that, then we heal the process and make sure that biodiversity and ecological life is returned to our forests, and our degraded lands will be restored with the initiatives of Tree for Life and Restore Ghana to make sure that our forests are restored again.
Thank you very much. You want to ask the last question?
Chairman, thank you so much. My very last one has to do with the timber industry. Indeed, for many years now, it's just failing. Replacement has been quite minimal. Please tell us your plan, how you need to do to revamp the timber industry.
Chairman, the timber industry revamping is a very critical piece of the puzzle. It begins with us making sure that we start, as I said, renewing our forests and planting and making sure that we
lands, 2 lands, so they can register them. Registration center will be closer to them. They are not put at great expense in going through the processes to having their land properly registered and demarcated. Will you consider that?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this is very, very important. And the Lands Commission itself has been working on expanding services. And I believe that this is a very important first step. The people of Ghana must have these government services at their fingertips, at their districts. And as our country grows, with the effort to get the government at the district levels must also be deepened. And as Minister, I intend to work with the Lands Commission to fulfill that.
Thank you very much. Now, would you also consider revising the existing system regarding how land title certificates are issued? It's too laborious and time-consuming. Would you consider revising that system?
Surely, as I said earlier, we need to. There's been an effort at digitalization. And as I said, a digital map, a base map, will simplify these processes and allow, I mean, as it is, if you go to the Lands Commission and you are looking for a particular file, and they will tell you, come next week, because that whole 2 weeks, they are looking for the file. We must get to the point where...
So you consider revising it?
Definitely, definitely.
Thank you. Now, oil has been found in commercial quantities in the lower Voltairean basin, the Keta area. As we speak,
Yes. The last question.
Yes.
Which one? Last question?
Yes, my last question. Now, there will be a need to improve the land demarcation in that coastal area, in the Keta Avu Lagoon area, because when exploration begins, you know of the environmental impacts, whether adversely or otherwise. And you also consider remapping and redemarcating this environmental land use and reuse and all that in the area for purposes of the exploration. You consider that?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Once more, I wish you all the best, my leader. Chairman, that will be all.
Thank you, Honorable Patrick Yabuama. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, Kofi. Chairman, you need to protect your member from undue harassment from the member from Pusiga. Kofi, you are promising the people of this country that you are going to abolish VAT on mining. And also proceeds from mining, let me put it that way. And also offset and use part of the 5% royalties for infrastructure development. That's a very popular position of Honorable Collins Dowda. I know the chiefs have sent him here to ask that question, so I've taken that from him. How are you going to do this? It requires a lot of amendments from you and the government, and it's going to be a drain on our revenue base. What steps are you going to take to ensure that this is done? Thank you.
Chairman, obviously these are matters that lies with the Ministry of Finance, working closely with them. And when I get a note, these are manifesto proposals that must be fleshed out. I'll engage the Ministry of Finance and we'll see the way forward.
Second question, no follow-up on the first one. Which aspects of the Lands Act are you going to seek amendments to on the floor of Parliament? I realize you've spoken at length on the Lands Act of 2020, and you seem to have some challenges with some aspects of the Lands Act. Which aspects do you have issues with, and what amendments will you be bringing to the floor?
I think the only thing I've said is that LI 2462 that deals with mining in forest reserve must be repealed, and that's what I intend to do. I am sure that when I get to the ministry, we will have a comprehensive review of the Lands Act. I'm not able to tell you specific areas that must be focused on at this point.
Last question, Chairman. I'm being brief. There is a policy in your manifesto on the extractive sector. And there's also a policy position on the salt industry. And if you look at Article 2681 and 2, you require a certain number of MPs to ratify some of these concessions, transactions, and dealings. It's a very difficult hurdle to surmount. And it's hindered a lot of ratifications on the floor. Do you think, as a House now, we should look at lowering the threshold to enable a lot of investors coming into those sectors, salt and other extractive industries? I wish you the very best, Kofi.
Thank you. Chairman, these are finite resources. And I think that threshold is there for a good reason. We must all agree that this is the position that is in the interest of the country. If we are agreeing to allow resources that are finite to be given to any foreign investor, the two-stage threshold is important. I do not see that we should use it. And I believe that it doesn't matter where you are. The interest of the people of Ghana must always guide our decisions. And so if the agreements are going to be right, there's no point in reducing the bar at all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The chairman gave me a follow-up. You realize that we had some leases Parliament expired. Some of which were on bauxite, lithium, and other leases. Are you going to consider reintroducing them to the House, subject to your own reviews and internal arrangements? Thank you.
I'm not at the ministry yet. I'm sure when I get to the ministry, I will properly get the briefings that are required and the right decisions will be made on behalf of the people of Ghana.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Vice Chairman, Honorable Rickett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Nominee, Kofi, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, if I can call my friend Kofi. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chairman.
I have no doubt in my mind that you've been a tried and tested leader in this House, been a tried and tested minister in the days of your time at the Energy Ministry. So I know you do well, and it's a very good appointment. I just have a couple of questions for you. The ministry you are going to is quite a challenging ministry. There is a lot going on in this country with that ministry. What will be of course, you'll be inundated with a lot of issues. But when you arrive there, what will be your top 3 priorities when you are given the nod? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, the first priority is to stop the bleeding and make sure that we bring sanity in the mining area and allow legal mining and make sure that in areas where water has been polluted, we heal our rivers, we heal our water bodies, we heal our forests and bring back our biodiversity and ecology back, and even plant more trees. And continue the process by making sure that finally we are able to get people in all these mining areas to accept that the way forward in this country is not to destroy our forests and our water bodies, but if you are interested in mining, there's a better way to do it. That is clearly a priority. My second priority will be that in the lands ministry, we have done things to allow the people of Ghana to access services in a very efficient manner.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied with the answer, so there will not be a follow-up on this particular question. But my next question, this I think will be an opinion, because I'm not aware of any such policy. But can I ask my question? I have seen it. Just in your own opinion, or if you've spotted anything anywhere, but what would you, I mean, Ghana is a country, that has abundant in terms of natural resources. We've been producing gold for hundreds of years, diamonds and all that. But yet we are not getting enough, we don't seem to be getting enough export revenue, enough royalties, enough carried interest. What will be your priority in terms of the table of minerals that I have mentioned, that you will focus on, or to add on to what we are already doing, to make sure that we expand our export revenue base and also be able to get all the other benefits that we get in terms of carried interest and royalties? Thank you.
Thank you,
Honorable
Chairman.
Nominee, it is not your opinion, but your priority.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I think it's a very important question. There are a lot of new minerals we describe as green minerals that are very critical. But Chairman, I think we talked a lot about lithium. There's salt, there's clinker, there's clay. We must look at these new minerals as an opportunity to basically change the narrative and make sure that these new minerals are where we are going to really, we must add value to the things we have comparative advantage and change our story. I've said that if we discover new mineral today, we say that we are looking for those who will come and add the value here. And I tell you this, if we insist that that's all we want, we will get the companies that will do that, so that the industries that will create the jobs and give us the ultimate advantages in terms of value is what we will create. And so going forward, I think we must take the past experiences, look at these green minerals as an opportunity to transform our country and change our economy. And as minister, that is what I will drive.
Thank you. Mentioning lithium, you are right, discovered lithium in commercial quantities, especially in the central region. Agreements are being signed, more will be signed in the future. As a minister, how would you ensure that the agreements that we sign, the opportunities that are created in the way of jobs and other proceeds that we get are actually done in the interests of all of us in Ghana, but not a selected few? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I think that this is a very important question. These big investors that are coming to Ghana to negotiate these agreements are coming with top-notch firms and lawyers. I think Ghana must also be ready to go to the negotiating table with all the experts in the world, the best practices in the world, to make sure that we understand that when we are doing these negotiations, we are doing it for over 30 million Ghanaians who have given us their trust to make sure we can make the right decisions on their behalf. As minister, I will be guided by this principle in any negotiation to make sure that in all of these negotiations, Ghana wins.
Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibwa, I wish you all the best in your new ministry. I know that you will get through, and I know you do a good job for Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the chief whip, who is acting as the ranking member. Honorable members, by practice, the ranking members are not limited to the number of questions they are supposed to ask. So I'll go by the practice and convention and what the committee has agreed upon. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Chairman, let me start off by joining colleagues to commend our former deputy leader. We've had a very good working relationship. And just a number of questions. Honorable nominee, I've heard you speak eloquently about the newfound minerals. And I hear you, your passion. What are the hindsight lessons flowing from what we are used to? Hindsight lessons you are bringing on board for maximum benefit to country and people, and departing from the challenges associated with the traditional minerals.
Thank you, Chairman. I think we've made some progress in the extractive industry in terms of where we've come from. And I'm very proud as former energy minister that when oil companies dragged their feet on how quick we can move in terms of flaring of gas. And in this particular case, we remember His Excellency J.E.A. Mills, may so rest in peace, and President Mahama, who were steadfast that we must stop flaring and make sure that we monetize our gas. Today, it is truly a benefit for the people of Ghana. I think we must continue to make sure that as we go forward, we learn these lessons and ensure that the new minerals that are coming are minerals that will be near to the benefit of us, because we insist that the right things done, that we insist that value additions be done in country, that we insist. For example, we are talking about the mining industry. 30 years ago, I'm sure the technology required to do mining was not in place. So, for example, big companies will come here and they'll bring all the experts to come and undertake all the development, all the services. I'm talking about millions and billions of dollars. We must begin a process of indigenizing these services and building the capacity of Ghanaians to be in a position to also run large mining companies. I believe that we can do that if we get and set our minds to it and put in systems that support indigenous Ghanaians in this effort. And as minister, and I think with my record as a key driver of local content, I think I want to bring that in the mining sector.
Okay, so you mentioned indigenizing the sector. and you were in leadership in the 8th Parliament. So you were aware of the lithium agreement that was brought. The former deputy minister has spoken to the content in parts, chiefly 30% dedicated local participation. How do you appreciate, or what lessons can you glean from the lithium agreement that was brought by the NPP administration to Parliament, in the 8th Parliament? Lessons.
I think we must take these matters on a case-by-case basis. And as Minister, as I've indicated, I am going to this ministry with a mindset that negotiations must, of necessity, make sure that Ghana, the people of Ghana, have all the advantages, that will build Ghanaian capacity, that will make sure that in-country spend is increasing every day, that will make sure that we position even the Ghanaian private sector to be in a position to do some of these works. Because when they do, their capacity, their revenues, and the money they get stays in this country. And I believe that that is what I will do as minister if I'm given the chance.
Okay, Honorable, your then minority, some of your colleagues on the Energy Committee then, relative same lithium agreement, were not in support. And it's not debatable, it was a fact. They were resisting that agreement. On hindsight benefit, and also being told the fact, as the Deputy Minister rightly reiterated those facts in terms of the content of the agreement, would you say that your approach to that agreement then was wrong? You were not patriotic? If you had thought about it again, it's an agreement that should have been allowed to be passed?
Chairman, I think this must be put in perspective. They were not in support of what? The agreement had different factors to it, with different issues. People have specific, genuine concerns about different aspects of the agreement. And so I think that it is going to be so unfair to just simply say that we're against the agreement. They probably, individuals and even people on the other side of the aisle, were not comfortable with certain provisions here and there. And as members of Parliament, I think we must respect that.
Well, I do not remember any parts of the agreement that we then majority was not in support of. If you do, share with this committee and go further to elucidate on the part of the agreement that your side was against.
I've said that the agreement went to the committee and never came back to the floor. And I think that it will be a little bit of a futile exercise to talk about an agreement that is still with the committee that never came to the floor for us to deal with it. And so I don't know where you're driving at, but that's my point.
Honorable Leader, what I'm basically driving at is, I get your sense of patriotism, and you keep harping at it. We shouldn't be repeating mistakes of the past. I know you agree with me to that end. So, our inability to pass that agreement must be as a result of some disagreement. Tell us, what were the issues with the agreement on your side, and why were you not supporting its passage?
And I think what I can say, and if I want to agree with you, I think that when it comes to representing our people as members of Parliament, and it comes to these agreements, we must always make sure that we take off our partisan hats and put on our patriotic hats. And that is what I would say, and I expect every member of Parliament to do that. And I would drum that home everywhere I find myself, that when it comes to negotiating agreements for the people of Ghana, it has nothing to do with party politics. The question that we have to ask is that, will this endure to the benefit of the people of Ghana? And I'm sure once we answer, the answer is yes, we all go forward together. That should be the focus, that should be our posture as members of parliament who has been strong with the responsibility to stand up and protect the interests of the people of Ghana.
Honorable Leader, then candidate Mahama, now His Excellency President Mahama, said he will free illegal miners who have been incarcerated. Now, I recognize that the granting of amnesty is the president's right. You are professing to be a champion, fighting galamsey, illegal mining. So you are going to be fighting illegal mining at one hand, arrest all the perpetrators, and the president will also be freeing them. You arrest them for abuse of the law, and the president will free them. How do you marry the two?
I think that the commitment of President Mahama to make sure that we stop illegal mining is not in doubt. And I think he said it. I don't want us to really misquote the president and say things out of context. I think when somebody is speaking about the big elephant in the room who has been the real cause of the problem and makes it and say something in the context, you can put it in context. But the real issue, and this is what we have to talk about, because we are not going back to repair the damages that we all know has happened. I am very proud of the passion of the president and the plan that he has laid in place, the initiatives that he has espoused, the Blue Ghana initiative and the Restore Ghana initiative, the attempt at decentralizing the regulatory institutions, the cooperative mining, the recategorization of mining into small scale, medium scale, and the engagement of the local communities, including chiefs, to make them champions in this effort. I believe this cumulatively is what will get us to win the fight. President Mahama is committed to that. But what he's saying is that, listen, let's take the steps to make sure that we have done everything possible to clear all these bottlenecks and give the opportunity to the more than 3 million direct and indirect people who are engaged in illegal mining and create a pathway for them to do the right thing. And that's what we are going to do. But we are going to make sure, and let me say it clear, those who are going to still insist that they are going to engage in illegal mining, mining in water bodies, mining in forest reserves, wanton destruction of our forests, they should be ready.
Okay. Order.
So,
please take part in the proceedings in silence.
Honorable Leader, your endless narratives, we are going to do the right thing, we are going to make sure the water is clean, we are going to... Well, that...
Leader, with all due respect, how do you describe that to be endless?
Chairman, would you allow me to ask my question? Let me build my foundation. Let me build my foundation, Speaker, if you may. Mr. Chairman, allow me to build my foundation. So you kept on mentioning very beautiful things. I will ask my question, so just be tolerant. So the question was, the president stood on political, unless you are telling me what the president said was for political convenience. He said he will free illegal miners And he was quoted rightly. Now, my question to you, leader, is you have been heard saying all the things you are going to do. And then you said that the president said it in context. I heard you. What is the context in which the president spoke then? And what context are you speaking now?
I think, Chairman, as Lands and Natural Resource Minister nominee, what I'm looking forward is the enormity of the challenges in front of us. And I'm not here to talk about political platforms. I'm here to talk about solving serious problems that confront the people of Ghana. I'm here because I know where President Mohammed's heart is. I know it through the policies he has espoused. I know the things he has said that has given him the mandate of the people of Ghana. And I'm here to tell the people of Ghana that the new government is committed to ensuring that there will be no new mining in forests reserved. The new government is committed to make sure that we protect our water bodies with new initiatives. The new government is going to make sure that we reclaim our degraded lands and give a pathway to help individuals who want to be in mining to do it legally with the support of government. But we will ruthlessly deal with anybody who decides that he will not follow the law. Illegal mining will not be tolerated. It doesn't matter your political party.
That's a beautiful one. And you are also on record. Now let me proceed to your CV. I'm sure you have a copy before you, or you are very familiar with it. Page 2 of your CV, coming under leadership position held. And E, I'm interested in E, ranking member, Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy. You must have achieved something with that. As a ranking member then. Would you, let me build a question for you. Will you apprise this House in the face of all the beautiful things you've said or spoken to in terms of mining, protecting flora and fauna, our water bodies and all that? Are there things you can boast of as achievement when you were a ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee in this context?
Chairman, I'm very proud of my record as ranking member. I work closely with the chairman then of the committee to prosecute the agenda of President akufo-addo. And we made sure we did that in a bipartisan fashion, making sure that the issues that came before us were in the interest of the people of Ghana. And that's what I will continue to do.
It's not convincing, you know. It's not convincing. But, well, allow. Well, let me
Order, Honorable Chief.
Honorable
be
Leader.
Convinced.
I should be convinced.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. You should try hard. Leader, let's proceed downwards to H. After E, let's go down to H. Member, President of Ghana's Gas Task Force, 2010. Very interesting.
Yes.
Can you elucidate on it?
Chairman, I was then a deputy minister. I was a very lucky person when one afternoon my minister invited me to President Mills and was told that I was a member of the Gas Task Force chaired by then our illustrious former finance minister, the late Professor Kwesi Boche. And there were a team of about 5 or 6. And I learned a lot. And that was really the committee that laid the groundwork for what we now know as Ghana Gas and the gas infrastructure project and the pipelines that will go to Prestia and all of that. And so, yes, I was there from day one, and it was such a privilege.
Okay, on the same page of your manifesto as page 2, conferences and capacity building programs. Anyway, I'm told your wife is a beautiful chorister. Is that the case?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So F. Let me ask you a question on F. Commonwealth Business Forum. Keynote speaker, November 2009, Trinidad and Tobago. What did you go there to do?
Chairman, it was a very early stages of the ministry. We had just started the government. We were learning best practices. And I think that I went there to talk about the gas industry we were trying to build and learning the lessons of Trinidad and Tobago. And so those are the things that we talked about.
On same page, and Growth Week, keynote speaker, September 2010, London. Growth Week, what's that?
Well, I think this is an annual event. I think it's as an annual event on the downstream sector. Normally the MPA and others to talk about the downstream industry and product availability and all the regulatory things that will make the downstream petroleum industry work.
Leader, come with me if I'm not sure you have the Hansard parliamentary debate. I have Hansard Friday, 3rd January 2025. And with the permission of the chair, I want to quote extensively your words. Deputy Minority Leader, Mr. Emmanuel Kofi Amabua. Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for the opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for the message on the state of the nation that he has just delivered. Mr. Speaker, I need to remind you that the people of Ghana have already given their verdicts on the true state of the nation, and you got a good cheer for that. And that verdict was very clear. Economic hardship, huge debt, overhang, high youth unemployment, hopelessness, and more. We have come to the end of the road for what has been undoubtedly the worst government under the Fourth Republic. And you got a good cheer for that. Mr. Speaker, this abysmal record was confirmed on 7 December 2024 when the people of Ghana returned the most overwhelming and emphatic vote of the rejection of a government ever witnessed under the Fourth Republic. There should be calm. I have engaged you extensively on this matter. It was a very emotional moment for a president who was exiting. And you know that it was not all hopelessness under His Excellency President akufo-addo. You have spoken in admission of some of the high things President akufo-addo did, the free SHS and many others. Sitting in this chair now, the benefit of hindsight, and reflecting deeply, would you say that these words were harsh on the outgoing president? And when you are given the opportunity, you will retract some of them in part and apologize unreservedly.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I have enormous respect for President akufo-addo and any president that will occupy this highest seat of our land, because the decisions that they are confronted are enormous and grave. And so